Follow me. We shall crush them beneath us.
Despite Monster Hunter Wilds has DRM, just gonna have to endure it. I don't know if Capcom will remove it, but that's a whole nother topic. And now people are comparing, or perhaps wondering why, if Dragon Age the Veilguard flopped, how come Monster Hunter Wilds isn't flopping too? Here, let me give you some recap before we get into our comparison. Dragon Age Veilguard released on October 31st. Monster Hunter Wilds Beta released on the same day. Before we start, I want you to think about that and tell me which of these got more players. And we'll get to that.
We're in the age of stupidity in the gaming world, where the stupid questions are always asked first, and the more relevant questions are never asked at all. And that's what we're seeing right now with the gaming industry, kind of in a confusion right now. We're looking at the massive success that we're seeing with Monster Hunter Wilds, where gamers are resoundingly saying this is the game we want to play, this is the game that we're interested in, and we're going to reject any other game that comes out during this time period. And this has led to a massive push in the gamer player base for this game, reaching and almost peaking at 1.4 million players playing at a consistent rate. And that is just what we're seeing now in the gaming industry, where gamers are declaring what game they're playing, and they're resoundingly declaring the games that they're not playing right now. And I think that's what we're seeing with the backlash from gaming journalists, suggesting what's going on. Why is Monster Hunter Wilds a massive success, while Dragon Age Veilguard is resulting in the closure of multiple studios and the ending of an entire franchise? And I think that's the frustration that we're seeing right now with gaming journalists and people in the development space, where they're looking at this Japanese game, Monster Hunter Wilds, and they're comparing to a game that has a similar historic background, and they're seeing a giant discrepancy in the market. And that discrepancy is confusing them, where they're thinking, why is this game not actually succeeding in the market? It's supposed to be even better than the game that we're seeing currently with Monster Hunter Wilds.
Before we let Wagner Knows Why continue, let's talk about that. Dragon Age Veilguard Studio shut down, and Monster Hunter Wilds should suffer the same fate. And yet, Monster Hunter Wilds succeed. Let me tell you this, the beta for Monster Hunter Wilds released on October 31st. That is on the same day Dragon Age Veilguard was released. I think, in my opinion, Monster Hunter Wilds wanted to release that beta test, but they don't want to release on the same day other games are trying to release. I assume Monster Hunter Wilds beta test must have seen the discourse surrounding Dragon Age Veilguard. They knew it is the right time to release that beta test. It was risky, but it was worth it. So we're going to continue forward.
That is, in their mind, a fault that they're trying to actually find a solution for. And that is kind of admirable that they are trying to find a solution, but they're finding the solution in all the wrong places. In a new article from The Gamer that is questioning why isn't Monster Hunter Wilds flopping like Dragon Age Veilguard, which sounds like a naive question. If you're a gamer in general, you know the stark differences between these two games, but this question from the journalism community is showing that at least a good question is being posed, but the answers are multiplying in their stupidity. And that's what we're seeing with the answer that we get in this article from The Gamer, where they're trying to find the solution to this problem, and they're finding the solution in all the wrong places. Because if you go through this article, what they mentioned as the problem with Dragon Age Veilguard is the overall simplification of the game itself. They're saying that Dragon Age Veilguard simplify the gaming mechanics to such a degree that the game players really weren't resonating with the game itself. And I think if you played both of these games, Monster Hunter Wilds and the previous iterations of Dragon Age Veilguard and Monster Hunter Wilds, you realize there's always a simplification process right now in the video gaming industry.
I don't think Dragon Age Veilguard has DRM. I'm gonna have to look into it. I know Monster Hunter Wilds has DRM. They don't have any restriction. They don't have EA Plus or something. That's good to know. Problem is that it's the release date. Monster Hunter Wilds released their beta test on the 31st of October, on the same day Dragon Age Veilguard was released. I think the Monster Hunter Wilds beta, or perhaps Capcom, knew the discourse surrounding it, and then they release it. And here's another example. I know I'm keep repeating that one. Here's another example. Mecha Break released their demo 2 days after Avowed and Lost Record Bloom and Rage release. Everyone played Mecha Break. It got like 300,000. Yeah, it may be a demo, but what are the chances of that getting more than 1 million players? So it'd be interesting to see. Now let's continue forward. And also I'm going to be making another video on my second channel about video game journalists unites the entire gaming community. So check it out. Our link will be in the description.
There's always a simplification process right now in the video gaming industry. Both of these games were simplified to a massive degree. And that simplification has led to a disgruntlement between the gamer and player base for both franchises. People have complained about the simplicity that we saw with Monster Hunter Wilds. That simplicity doesn't get in the way of the gameplay and the overall feel of the game that we're looking for. That's why the complaints over Monster Hunter Wilds are overblown and not really considered too much, because the game is still the game itself. It hasn't changed too much and is still bringing the same elements that we love about Monster Hunter Wilds. Well, the opposite could be said about Dragon Age Veilguard. It kind of stole away entire elements of the gameplay, the story, and characterization of the game. So much so where game players weren't seeing the same Dragon Age game that they previously loved and adored, because you couldn't even make a negative choice in this game. If you know Dragon Age games, you can make negative choices that impact the game and show a different personality. But even if you choose a supposedly negative choice in this game, you still have the same reaction, result, and overall impression of the characters in this game.
The thing you have to know about one thing, when it comes to choices, this is why it's called role-playing games. It gives players freedom. And Dragon Age Veilguard is like baby's first RPG. Monster Hunter Wild also has its issues, including DRM, which, let's be real, Capcom, they are ignoring the PC market because most of their prioritization is strictly on console. PC second. I don't know why, but that mindset really needs to change. I mean, seriously, 1 million players, or in this case 1.3 million, on Steam. That's not a number that can be scoffed at. And for Dragon Age Veilguard, well, first thing is the character creation, which is always has a trans surgery scar. The chest size, I think both games have one similarity, which is the chest size. You can't go past that. I don't know any filter that can do that in Monster Hunter Wilds, so that just remains to be seen. Now I'm gonna react to 2 more clips.
Monster Hunter Wilds is not concerned with modern day California politics. Of course, people are saying there's no male-female choices in the game. You only choose between presets of body types that are clearly male or female, but even then we had complaints from people saying, even if I choose this male-female preset, everyone's pronouncing my pronouns as the character that I look as, which makes sense. If you're choosing a character that looks female, people are going to use female pronouns, and that is confusing the small, minute minority of people, because that is just not really the makeup of game players. Game players really don't care about this, only the political activists. And I think that is the thing that Dragon Age Veilguard failed to. It concerned itself with the activists in charge of the game itself, where it concerned itself with modern political activists that don't play games but just opine on gaming. And they made a game strictly for those people, and we got the end result of that, a game that simply is for no gamer at all. And that failure led to the massive drop-off that we saw with Dragon Age Veilguard, where everyone is getting fired, where the tables have churned on BioWare and Western gaming, and every studio that's following this type of game design is failing. And I think that is the reflection that we're seeing right now in the gaming industry, where gaming is not made for the gamers anymore.
There's one more clip we have to react to. The Western video game devs, or in this case, Western AAA devs, just give gamers what they want. Oh wait, you want those awards. That's the reason why you prefer critics than real gamers. Take a look at the East. They just create their games and let the market choose it. And guess what? It got results. Black Myth Wukong got 2 million players. What else? Monster Hunter Wild, 1.3. Stellar Blade is probably going to do better, although we don't know for sure. We haven't heard anything because it's coming on June. But Stellar Blade also did better on the console side despite not being on PC. But I hope the PC looks good. I mean, what else? Marvel Rivals has just reached, what, 40 million players? That's a lot. Here, let's see what he has to say about the East versus West.
Reflective of mostly Eastern game developers. Eastern game developers understand what is needed to actually produce content at a higher rate that's more in line with the gamer's taste and actual appeal. And this is what's making Monster Hunter Wilds wildly successful. The fact that the gamer, a lot of these game journalists skip over this fact, over character design, model, actually sticking to the ethos and moral values of the game that has been established already. They don't even consider this. They think that is probably the diatribe of a racist gamer that doesn't understand the current modern day political activist mindset that you're supposed to have when you're approaching gaming. And I think that just shows that a lot of these people in the gaming industry right now are so far gone that they truly do not understand the gamer base that they're trying to win over. And unfortunately for them, that is a gamer base that is still out there willing to purchase games. And if you're not willing to make a game based on that, you're probably going to have a massive failure on your hands. At least
Again, I will leave the full video link in the description. The East knows what gamers want. How come the West, when they knew what gamers want, yet they don't listen? Dragon Age Veilguard, all because of one director experience. You wanna know what happened after that? Dragon Age Veilguard flopped. A high budget, didn't make enough money. Unbelievable. Because they want to create mostly for the journalists, or perhaps for the shills. And we all know video game shills don't buy games. They want free stuff, even though they don't care about what journalists or video game journalists in this point, except for Shift Up, of course. I don't know why Shift Up censored that graffiti. But then again, hopefully, when the PC port launches, there's a chance we could fix that. Overall, optimization is warranted, okay? They have DRM. One of the reasons is because to combat piracy, of which it's not doing it because it's actually encouraging piracy. I mean, Black Myth Wukong still has DRM in it. That thing's still not being removed. I don't know how long it will take because some people say it should be either 6 months or 2 years. But that's just them. I don't know for sure. But hopefully when DRM is removed, I could probably bump it up to medium setting, hopefully. But that remains to be seen. I'm not giving those journalists any clicks. Video game journalists, if they keep on attacking, yeah, no thank you. They attack gamers, they don't deserve my sympathy. And here's another thing. The East doesn't attack the gamers. Or in this case, their audience, gamers. While the West did. Well, some of them didn't. At least one out of all of them hates gamers. Such as Matt Hansen.
You were most impressive. Surely your military skills will help guide us on the path to victory. I look forward to your continued efforts.
Leave a like and subscribe if you want woke or anti-woke detected, or you just want to see me play games. Visit my second and third channel up here or link in the description.